All right, we're gonna start with the Ignite talks. And just, there's gonna be a few speakers coming up who's gonna deliver a talk for 5 minutes. And the format is, they have 20 slides, 15 seconds each, and they go by themselves automatically. They cannot stop, so they need to be done by 5 minutes. And that's pretty much it. So the first speaker is someone you already know, Leon.
Okay. Here we go. There we are. Ready? 3, 2, 1. There is no avoiding the cliche. Ah, no, that wasn't 15 seconds. Ah!
Stuff happens.
Nailed. Now you're seeing all the slides. No.
What happened?
Wow.
They're
Oh,
not.
no.
They're not
all
seeing.
the slides disappeared.
Yeah.
Hang on. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. No.
They're coming. They're coming.
Control Z. Control Z.
Yeah, they're coming.
All right. There. And I cheat. I use speaker notes. There. Ah, this is very hard. All right.
Go.
3, 2, 1. There's no avoiding the cliche that IT folks and comic books go together like Sheldon and roommate agreements. I believe that for IT people, comic books help us reconcile our idea of how things should be versus how they are. 3, 2. Comic books give us a world where we could be our most authentic selves, where we saw how things that made us different were also the things that made us powerful. And we found real refuge, an oasis where we could feel safe and seen. But the superhero world offers even more concrete lessons for a career in tech. In this talk, I'm going to share some of the things that comic books in general and the Marvel Cinematic Universe in particular have taught me about working in tech. And obviously, if you haven't seen these movies, there will be spoilers. So in Doctor Strange, we learn about sling rings. It's one of the first, most basic skills. And in tech, we also have to learn arcane and fundamental skills like coding and subnetting and GitHub. Failing to master these is going to hold us back. And like the sling ring, the great thing about basic tech skills is that they can be used in so many ways. I mean, the Linux pipeline is powerful because you can string these simple commands together in infinite ways. As a side note, Dormammu was defeated by regular expressions, actually. We find out Logan's body is succumbing to adamantium poisoning, which means his most potent weapon is poisoning him from the inside. We also have to recognize when tools, techniques, ideas, or ideals have turned toxic, and we have to learn how to let go. Now, Charles Xavier, his psychic abilities were a threat to everyone around him. We also have simple and powerful tools, everything from DNS to delete, that if used indiscriminately can destroy anything. Have you turned it off and on again is an inelegant solution, but it works, as do a million other kludges that we use and feel guilty about every day. But as Peter Porker would remind us, don't overthink it. If a solution works, it works, even if it's a wooden mallet. Now, on a team of equally qualified sysadmins or network engineers or SREs, they all took different paths to acquire the skills, but we are at our best when we recognize and value those differences and appreciate that we can execute as a team. Now, eventually the new, the shiny, the exciting wears off and the ugly becomes apparent. And then we might become the bitter, grizzled veteran or the cynic or the aloof loner. Don't let your bad experiences get in the way of being kind. Now, recognizing folks who respond at 2 a.m. to a Sev 1 emergency, but not recognizing the ones who worked at 4:30 in the afternoon so the Sev 1 never occurred is a problem in tech. But it's never too late to recognize your unsung heroes and show them their work wasn't in vain. Comics show all kinds of different powers, super abilities, and intellect and privilege. Tech has different kinds of power also, but what allows us to succeed isn't our superpowers, it's sticking to our morals and our ethics and our values in the face of adversity. Stephen Strange didn't know Sanskrit when he started, but he learned it. In fact, he rarely knows anything in that movie. He's always struggling to keep up. And in tech, there's no better way to succeed than to keeping at it. Read the manual, test the assumption, build the POC. It might be educational to take apart a perfectly functioning system just to know how it works, but if your need to understand gets in the way of getting work done, you need to take a step back and recognize that sometimes it's enough to know that something simply is. At the end of Into the Spider-Verse, Peter starts fixing his broken life. In tech, we also have critical failures in our systems, in our careers, and even in our relationships. But no failure is the end. Only our attitude toward that failure can do that. Miles Morales suffered from a literal inability to let go. It held him back. Those of us in problem-solving roles can relate to that, because even if we love our job, we need to know how to put it down and walk away. Tech is full of positive rewards for poor choices. Working long hours, working after hours, days off, bonuses for fighting fires no matter how much we ourselves are burned. That doesn't make those behaviors good. Learn the difference. If your superpower is kryptonite, stop. At the end of Doctor Strange, Mordo declares there are too many sorcerers in the world. In tech, it can feel like everyone wants to get into DevOps or InfoSec or Kubernetes. Don't get caught up in a concern about if there's too many people. The world has room for and needs everyone. Now, comics can teach us that what makes us different makes us strong, but every character on every page of every book in every series all share one thing in common. They all struggle with feeling like they are enough. And if there's any lesson we can take from comic books, it's this: you are. Whether you're pitching a wild idea for a kid who was bitten by a radioactive spider, or a way to do an inconceivable 10 deploys a day, or some even more outrageous idea, don't let the naysayers stop you. Our ability to imagine a better world is, and always has been, our superpower. Thank you.
Let's go. Thank you, Leon. Such a difficult exercise, and you've nailed it. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. That sets the expectation for the others.